Okay, so let's get started. Exploratory online seminar number 29. This time, I'd like to present Exploratory version 6.3 new features. Um, Before starting, let me introduce myself. My name is Kan Nishida, CEO, co-founder at Exploratory. And in spring 2016, I launched the Exploratory with other partners to democratize data science. And prior to starting the Exploratory, I used to be working at Oracle for about 20 years, leading the development team to build various data science related products. And also, not only developing the products, but also I was providing consulting and training service to always democratize data or data science or anything around the data. And here we are. And then at the Exploratory, we talk about democratizing data science a lot, but we really think that it's this third wave is coming. I'm not going to go into the detail, but it's really, this is about like how we can make it easier for more people to access a lot of advancements and the innovation happening in the open source. So without programming, anybody should be able to access the cutting edge, the modern data science technologies and algorithms. And then that's what we call the third wave. When we talk about data science is really that we think like 5 steps. Usually, I mean like 6 steps in precise. Usually like you start with questions to answer your business problems or solve the business problems. And then you need to access the data. And then you usually like when you get the data is not ready for even visualize or analyze. So like you wanna, we call it data wrangle. You basically clean up and transform the data so that the data will be ready for you to visualize or analyze to understand better. And then like you visualize by using the charts or using analytics algorithms such as statistical learning models or statistical algorithms or machine learning algorithms to find patterns on the trend that your eyes couldn't see by just visualizing the data. So you go through this data access, wrangling, visualization, analytics, and going back and forth in any order until you find the answer. And then once you find the answer or insights from the data, then now it's time to communicate with other folks because usually you're not the only one who's answering the question or making a decision. Typically you work with a team or partners or customers and so on. So the last piece, last step of the communication is very important. And Exploratory provides a modern and simple UI to do these all 5 steps. So that's really the Exploratory about. Okay, that's enough for the introduction. So let's get into the online seminar itself. So online seminar number 29, Exploratory version 6.3 new features. We released Exploratory version 6.3 in December. I think it was like a earlier side of the December. And then at the very end of the last month, we also released a patch version, which includes some enhancements and bug fixing and so on. So if you haven't downloaded and upgraded to the latest version of 6.3, I highly strongly recommend doing so. And hopefully I can convince after you see all those introduction today as well. So let's get started. So there are 5 areas of I like to cover: performance, summary view, analytics, chart, and data wrangling. And performance is, I think it's the one of the most important things that people kind of forget. I mean, like users don't forget, but we as a developer building the product tend to forget. So this time, but we've been kind of very cautious about, careful about this performance stuff. So over the last few releases, we improved different area of the performance. And with this version 6.3, what we did is we tried to improve the UI rendering. So when you open the data frame or you switch the view between summary, table, chart, analytics views, or you click on the data wrangling steps and go in between, between the steps, or you go between the chart tabs. or opening and closing the projects, all these areas, like we went through it and found a lot of area that we could improve the performance. So if you use the previous version, 6.2, and then you use this version, you will see the significant difference. So just for this reason, I recommend you to upgrade to that latest version. Okay, so the next topic is a summary view. So summary view is really that sort of exploratory phase in a way. So like the first thing you see after you import the data, that's the summary view you see, and it gives you the summary information by using the visualization and also the metrics. And the 6.0, which was probably beginning of last year, we added this new this feature is called correlation mode. Correlation mode in the summary view, like you click one button and then you select the variable that you're interested in. For example, the price, for example, the monthly income, or anything that you're interested in. And then it automatically visualize by using the error bar to show you the relationship, to visualize the relationship with all the variables. And also gives you a high level kind of statistical information such as R square, the p-value, and so on. So this is a correlation mode, and then we improve this area with version 6.3 by adding this column header menu. So this column header menu is really to help you create the analytics or prediction models such as linear regression or random forest, or statistical model, statistical tests such as classical Wallis or chi-square test and so on, or create the charts like scatter charts, error bar, and so on. And for example, if you select the create scatter chart, in this case, we are looking at employee data or human resource data. And then like we wanted to see like working years and monthly income, is there any like a correlation between? And then like you can click on create scatter chart from the column header menu of total working years. This will create the scatter plot chart with the trend line. So you can see more detail. And then from here, you can customize this chart by maybe like adding the cutout by or repeat by to dig in more detail. Also, another thing we did is we made it possible for you to be able to select multiple columns so that not only building the model, but also building multiple regression model for prediction model with multiple column or variables. So in this case, I'm selecting job level, job role, total working years, and age. These as predictor variables. And then build a linear regression model. This will automatically open the analytics view with a linear regression model. And then you can see like a lot of information by clicking tabs. Okay, so that's a summary view. And then next up is analytics. The analytics, we did a couple things, but one of them is the biggest thing, is a prediction with another data. So previously, until previous release, like if you want to predict with a new data or the the different data from the one you built the model, then you have to do with the steps. Steps is in Exploratory, the right-hand side, you start building data wrangling steps. But with this release of 6.3, you can build a prediction model and analytics view. Then you can go to whatever the data that you want to predict. And then you can select that prediction model from the analytics view. And that's what we did with this release. So I'm going to show you the quick demo, probably on this one. And then, so that's probably easier for anyone to understand better. So here I open, this is housing data. So each row represents a house or apartment or whatever. And then it has like a real estate data. So like it has its own price, listed price, and how many bedrooms and bathroom, and what's the square feet and so on. Okay, so And then from here, what I want to do, like I go to the summary view. This is a summary view, right? First thing you see after you import the data. And what I want to do is I want to create, click on this correlate and see if there's a column called price. I want to see like what influence on the price, like how that, any like variable have relationship with this price variable. So all I need to do is just click on the correlate button, select the price. Then this will gives me all the information that I need to understand the relationship between the price and all other variables. And here, I'm going to select the R squared, which is basically, in this particular case, is a squared of correlation. Basically, it indicates how strong the correlated relationship between a given variable and a price. So here, square feet living is I guess like this living areas square feet. R squared is 0.49 or correlation 0.70. Correlation, by the way, it ranges between -1 to 1, 1 being strongest positive correlation. So and then you square it, and then that becomes 0.49. But here, now I see these are the variables that seems like have some relationship. Then let's say like, I want to even dig in more by building the multiple regression model. So let's say I'm going to select square feet living. The one like I was talking about here is a column header menu. But not only, I can create a linear regression model from here, then the square feet living is going to be the predictor variable, and the price is going to be the target variable. But I want to actually select more columns like this, the 4 columns, or even I can go even more, but I'm going to just, let's start from here. And then click on the column header menu. In this case, I see only analytics from the column header menu, but let's say like I want to create the linear regression model. I just click on it, and then this will give me the linear regression model. Here we go. Then, so this is a prediction tab. This tab gives you the idea how each variable, the relationship with the price. For example, square feet living, the more square feet, and then the price goes up, and then grade, the higher the grade, the price goes up, and so on. And then I'm sure like you might want to do something, customize this and so on. But let's say like I create this linear regression model, and then it doesn't have to be linear regression model. You can build other like machine learning model, like such as random forest or so on. But here, let's say like what this is called. Like I want to use this model, whatever the model here is like that one has like R squared 0.57. Okay, so then I imported the data. Conveniently, I imported it before this seminar. So I go to the new data frame. It's like this is for like another year, and it has similar data. So basically, each row is basically apartment or house, and then and has a pricing and a bedroom and a square feet, all the variables that is similar to the one before. And then I want to use this data, and then I want to see like what's the price will be. Usually, if this is a new data, you don't have this price variable. I mean, that's the whole point. But you have this let's say a bedroom and a bathroom, a square feet living, and so on. And then based on this information, can we predict the price? Okay, so now let's do it. So I got to do like either from the column header menu, or there's a plus button at the right-hand side on the step side. And then you scroll down, and there is a predict with model bracket analytics. This is a new menu. And so you want to select on this, and then you can select where that prediction model that I created it. And that was housing data 2015. And then which tab, and I created only one prediction model. So there's only one listed. This is basically the analytics tab, or the name of the tab. And then I can click on run button, and then that's it. Use the prediction model that was created under this 2015 data frame, but I predicted for this 2016 data frame. And if I go to the right-hand side, you see 4 columns being added. So these are the new columns, but also built, created by this step, which is predict bracket analytics. So that's the prediction capability. And the cool thing about this is now at this point, this one, like I'm using CSV data, so sort of like this is the end. But imagine like if you're creating by SQL query or whatever to getting the data from the database, or maybe like a remote CSV from like, I don't know, S3 or whatever, then you can publish it and schedule it at our server, like a cloud server, exported cloud server. Then you can schedule it. Then at that point, you can always, let's say like every day you get the data from the data source and then build a model with the new data. And then you can apply that prediction model to another new set of the data. And then you can keep predicting every day. Or you don't have to rebuild a new model. Then like you don't, like let's say this 2015 data frame, you can cache it or go to the particular step. Let's say like, for example, you wait a second. Oh yeah, so this 2015, in this case, it's CSV. So like then like it doesn't have to get the new data because it's like just a local file or whatever static file. But this 2016 data, this is the only part, maybe like you can change that to SQL query or something. Then only like the model itself is not going to be rebuilt, but only the data you want to apply the prediction model will be updated and so on. If you want to know more detail, you have questions, you can ask a question in the chat window or at the end of this session, or just contact me and I can help you get going as well. Okay. So a lot of talking. So then I'll go to the next section. So under analytics, we did something more as well. So number one is the base model. We build a linear regression model, right? And then in order to, the statistical learning model is a little tricky compared to machine learning model. One of the tricky thing is the interpretation of the coefficient of the categorical variable. In this case, this is like employee data. And then one of the variables is called job role, which is a categorical, not as opposed to numerical. Then when you have the categorical, then each category or the value, the unique value becomes its own variable. For example, in this case, I have this variable has a research director, sales executive, and so on. Each of that value, research director, for example, becomes its own variable. Then how you understand the coefficient of the research director? Well, there is a concept called base level. In this case, the sales executive. Then like you see, you understand, you want to interpret the research director's, in this case, monthly income is $4,096 higher compared to the base level, in this case, a sales executive. So the base level becomes very important to understand the coefficient of all the variables of the same job role in this case. Then it's up to what is the base level, right? So like if the base level, in this case, sales executive, but what if like, I don't know the sales executive, like all I know is more like a healthcare representative or something. That's I'm more familiar with. Then like you wanna change that base level to healthcare representative, then you can understand all the coefficient of the job roles to be understood in a comparison against the healthcare representative salary. Okay, so you can actually change it. You could even change it before, but you had to do the data wrangling. So you had to go to the data, add the new step, and then do, changing converting the column to the factor and changing the order and so on. But now you can directly do that under the analytics view. And it's all you need to do is just click on the predictor variable and then open the select and configure column dialog. And then there's an edit icon. When you click on it, then you will have this dialog where you can select the value that you want to set as a base level. In this case, I set that manager as a base level. Then when I click run button, all the categorical variables, I mean like job role variables, should be understood based on the manager as a base level. Okay. So, and then like another thing, the hypothesis test and this probability distribution. This is the area like only the people who understand or know about the hypothesis test or statistical test would be interested in. Otherwise, you're like, hey, what the hell are you talking about? So in that case, just bear with me for like the next few minutes. So in the statistical tests such as t-test or chi-square test and so on, you can do that under the analytics view, but then it's always kind of confusing because there's this thing called p-value or this thing called t-value and so on. If you're familiar with it, you're probably okay, but you're just getting into it, like you're still not familiar what hell it's talking about. But in this case, for example, I'm testing the monthly income and then also the relationship between the gender and the monthly income, especially in the gender. In this data, there's only male and a female. And then there's a difference for the average or mean monthly income. And if that difference is significant or not, or the reproducible, the kind of difference that like we should be really caring about or not. And in that case, you can run this t-test and then you get the p-value, for example. Then based on this p-value, then you decide if the difference is significant or not. And besides, if should we keep emphasizing the p-value itself, or should we just look into more like a confidence interval, that kind of stuff? I mean, I'm not going to talk about that today, but it's just focus on the p-value for the sake of this new feature. Then this p-value is, what is this p-value? Well, p-value is a probability of getting the t-value in this case. T-value is, think of it as like sort of like adjusted value of the difference. In this case, the difference is the difference between the male's monthly income and the female monthly income. But so it's very close to basically the same thing, t-value, the difference between them, but it's adjusted and scaled. Anyway, so the p-value is a probability of getting the t-value under the null hypothesis that assumes there's no difference in monthly income between male and female. In this particular case, the average or mean. Then this p-value is 0.22, so basically 22%, and what that really means. So we have added this thing called probability distribution. This visualizes the t distribution, that's the underlying distribution for calculating the p-value based on the given t-value. So you can see that where the t-value is, and then also two ends, right side and left side, that's a significant level. In this case, the default is 5% or 0.05. So that's the area kind of shaded. You can change it. You can change it to, let's say like 1% or 20% or whatever. And then you see where those significant zone, quote unquote. And then also in the relationship with the given t-value. And you see, okay, what's the relationship like? And this one becomes very handy, especially when you use a repeat by. So in this case, I assign a job role to the repeat by. That means we have 9 different job roles. And each job role, I'm running this t-test for to see if the difference between the female and males monthly income is significant or not. And then you get this p-value and t-value and so on. Then when I go to the probability distribution tab, then I can see not only the order t distribution, but also I see t-value in each job role. And one of them has the t-value that is in the significant zone. And can you spot it? Well, there is an arrow left hand side down. And so the research director, and you can see, oh, okay, so this particular job role, the difference of the monthly income is significant, under the assumption that, like, we set that significant level as a 5%. Okay, so this one is really useful, especially when you're teaching the statistics to the people who are trying to learn this new thing. And then we use this a lot, our training. And then so far, we're getting good feedback. So if you happen to find yourself needing to explain this type of things, you might want to give a shot. Okay, so that's it for analytics. And then we added some metrics for survival analysis, such as Cox regression and survival random forest. I'm not going to cover that in this seminar, but anyway, so let's move on to the chart. So the chart, we did a couple of things as well. Number one, repeat by with multiple y-axis. This is my personal favorite. You can assign multiple columns on the y-axis. I'm gonna just use a demo instead of going through the slide, which is kind of boring. I'm gonna open this like a sales data. Okay, and so this data and each row is an order, and then I'm visualizing, for example, the sales or number of rows mean think of it as number of orders, and then sales and marketing and discount and so on. And all of them have a different scale. For example, the sales, discount here, I've assigned discount to like Y2. So if I didn't assign like Y2, what's going to happen is something like this. So the highest one is the sales, and this is the US dollars, and marketing, this is like expense. So, of course, like marketing is less than sales. And the number of the orders or discount is super small. And if you think about it, discount is about, this is like a 0 to 1, and 1 is 100% discount. So like never goes beyond, above the 1 anyway. Then you can't see like what's going on here. So like typically you do is like you want to assign that to like assign to Y2, and then at least the discount, this red line is using the right-hand side scale. So you can see it, but still like, for example, number of rows, you don't really see like how that movement is. And then basically for all of them in a different scale, so like you kind of, it's almost like impossible to see all of them together. So that's not the only time, but that's one of them. One of the times like you might want to use this repeat buys, new features, like each y-axis. When you select on this one, then each measure, I call it measure, whatever the column assigned to y-axis, has its own chart, basically separated. And then now, also another thing we did is, used to be like all the repeat by setting, you had to go this like a layout setting. But this, most of the setting is now exposed at the top of the chart. So here, I can, for example, change that to, for example, like 2 by 2, and then I can basically change that to like a, synchronized y-axis scale or not synchronized and so on. And then like I can kind of compare between and see like, oh, okay, basically seems like the sales, the number of rows, marketing had a similar trend, kind of going right hand side top, and then discount is not, so like you can see that trend easier. And then another way to do use it is another time like you want to use is this time. Like this is also like my favorite way of using it. So let's say like I want to see that this there is something called, this is like a number of rows, like a number of the orders by country. There are too many countries, so like I'm gonna just focus on, let's say like Europe or something. Okay, and then I can see, for example, like there's a column called return. So like what are the number of the returned orders as against opposed to not returned orders. So like when you see blue, these are the number of the orders that were returned in France. So 130 orders were returned. So now another thing from here, what you want to do is, let's say like y-axis, like I want to see like a ratio of the return, and the y-axis, we added this quick window calculation. We had this window calculation, but you had to go in there and then setting up from the scratch. Instead, we added a kind of like a quick shortcut. So under the quick window calculation, there's a percent total. If I select it, and then now like I can see as those like a number of the returns as a ratio. rather than just a value itself. So now here, there's a problem. Typically what happens here is like Slovenia and Slovakia looks like a super high number will return. But then when you click on it, and then you see only like a number 3. So there's only 3 orders, and it happened to be those 3 orders being returned, so therefore it's 100%. But compared to, for example, like France, we have like many more rows, 130 return rows, and then 2,697 non-return rows. So it's not really fair to compare these two. So what you want to do is like, I want to see the original order numbers and also this ratio together. And that's where like you want to use like y-axis by repeat by. So what I mean by that is I'm going to assign, let's say, like number of rows to another y-axis. So we have like 2 y-axis. And at this point, it's kind of like whatever we are seeing right now, it doesn't make any sense right now. But if you assign each y-axis for repeat by, now I have 2 charts. And then like I'm not going to do the sync y-axis. So each chart has its own y-axis scale. And then like what I want to do is this one, y-axis, y-axis here. Oh yeah, the percent of total. Then like I can assign this like a return. So now the left-hand side is the exact same chart we were looking at. And then by applying the window calculation of a percent of total. And right-hand side is just showing the number of orders in return or not return. And I can change that layout, for example, like a 1 chart in row, and then like I can see. So for example, when I see Slovenia 100% or Slovakia 50%, but if I see down on the bottom chart, and I can see like, oh, there's not many, what you call it, like orders. So like I can get a lot more information at the same time. So this is another kind of convenient time to use the multiple y-axis for repeat by. Okay, so I cover a couple of things. Another thing is we introduced this thing called summarized table. I think this is actually going to be very, very useful for many users of Exploratory. Like I've been talking with some customers of Exploratory or users of Exploratory, and I find always fascinating about how people like using. I'm not sure like using or not, but like how much people use pivot table. So pivot table is something like this. And like I totally understand that people want to see the value of like each section or each item in a summarized way or aggregated way. But there are some limitations with this pivot table. Now, number one, you can't apply the different number format for each column. You have only one number format. And then you can't apply a different color setting for each column. And then the format option is basically super basic. You can do certain things, but it's very basic. And then only grand total is supported. What people want is like subtotal, but that was not there. And then many of those limitations come from the nature of the pivot table, because the pivot table, you assign the column to the column. And then let's say in this case, I assign the order date or order months, and each month becomes its own column. And therefore it's kind of hard to assign a different number format, because this particular, let's say like, this is like January to December, but these column values can be dynamic every time like you import that data. So we created this summarized table just for focusing on like a summarizing aspect. And then by doing so, you get like a format for each column. And then therefore, like you can apply the different, not just number format, but also kind of visual formatting as well, such as showing the bars or changing the background color or text color, or even applying a conditional color formatting. And then we added the subtotals as well. So this one, just quickly, let's see here. I think I have something here. Here you go. So in case you already had a pivot table, you don't have to recreate from scratch. You can actually just swap it existing pivot table and summarize table. Of course, you can create from scratch as well. And then you can start assigning something that's not here. So for example, I don't know, maybe sales comp and so on. And then like, let's say like I want to format the sales column. Let's say, you know what, like I want to just change the column name. Let's say number format to be, this is like a currency, default is dollar sign, that's fine. And then visual formatting to be, let's say like a background color, I don't want to change that. Show bars, maybe like I said, colors and the background colors, and then apply. And then I can do that as well. So this is the things, it's very easy compared to before by using a pivot table. And then I think most use cases I'm seeing that people using pivot table, it can be done with the summarize table in much easier and more efficient way. And then I can assign another column to the row. So let's say this is a region. Let's say like I want to do, I don't know, maybe return or something like return true or false. Then when you have two levels of the aggregation or summarization, then you can assign not just totals, but also you can assign a subtotal as well. So see the subtotals, and then there's a grand total at the very bottom. Okay, so that's the summarized table. I'm personally very excited about this summarized table, not necessarily just for my own use, but just because I've seen a lot of users of the Exploratory being using pivot table. So I think some of the frustration maybe you had with pivot table can be addressed by this summarized table. Okay, and in the trend line, when you have the chart, you can draw the trend line, and we added two new additions. One is the logistic regression, another one is the Poisson. And then this is really based on the data type. Like logistic regression trend line can be added when you assign the logical data type column to y-axis. And then you set that as a ratio as a y-axis, then you can draw this logistic regression line. So this is for like somebody who understands the logistic regression would appreciate. And if you're not sure what the logistic regression is, I think I might have done a seminar before. If that's the case, I'm gonna put that link later. Otherwise, I'm gonna plan to do that seminar soon. Okay. And let's move on to the data wrangling. So this is the last area of the enhancement or new features. So we cover performance, summary view, analytics and chart, and then the data wrangling is the last one. But important ones, two things. Number one, the summarize step, another one, the text data wrangling UI. The summarize step is, the summarize table is the one that you create under the chart view. Summarize step is you can actually create a step. I might be confusing you guys. So this is a summarized table. Well, this is all you do is under the chart view. Sometimes you want to change the underlying data itself to be summarized so that you can join with another data set, or you can do another or more data wrangling on top of the summarized data, or you want to give the summarized data to maybe like prediction model or so on. So in that case, you can, let's say, you can go from the column header menu and select to summarize, and then you get the data itself to be summarized as well. So in here, what we did is added this thing called numeric columns, so that sometimes when you have like a 10 or 20 columns or variables, and then you don't want to select one by one, and all you want to do is like, you know what, like I want to just summarize or aggregate all those numeric columns and just apply mean or like a median or something like that. And now you can do. So you can just select the numeric columns, and then that will select all the numeric columns and then apply the same aggregated function. And also you can add on top of that, you can just selectively pick like whatever the columns and apply different aggregation. Let's say like, you know what, like I want to get, this is like a teaching column to be sum, and also like all, numeric column to use me or something like this. It's very flexible. Okay. So next thing, and it is the last part, but not least, not least, this is actually the um, another my favorite and exciting update. So text data wrangling UI. And the data wrangling, people talk about, 80% of the data analysis or data science work's being spent on data wrangling. But inside of data wrangling, I think the text data is notorious. And there are a lot of different ways to, be not clean for the text data. And so we try to improve this area. We created this text data wrangling UI before, but in this release, we improve some of the user experience, and also we reorganized column header menu, and then we added a new capability. Let's take a look at it one by one. So this is the column header menu. So from the column header menu, you select the text data wrangling, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the bottom. And then underneath, there's a remove, replace, extract, convert. When you select this, you get the text data wrangling UI. But this area, we reorganized it. And before, we had this like text data wrangling bracket UI or function or something like that. We just consolidated into just one. And then when you click on it, you get this new UI. I mean, like the same UI with updated design. And then now, right-hand side, the preview area, now it's instead of showing each row, now like we are showing aggregates. So as long as it's unique value, then like we show like how on the count column, we show like how many rows for each unique value. And then we added a search area so that you can quickly find the any text value you're looking for. And then we added also pagination. This one also is kind of like a performance-wise is very useful, because before when you had tons of data and it just taking a lot of time for loading this preview area. So now we changed that to pagination. And also, this is actually pretty cool because you check on this show invisible character. In this case, what we say invisible is really a space and tab and a new line or line break or whatever. So we use a different font or text for representing those. So you can see, especially when you have a 2 space or 1 space, you can't really tell by just looking at sometimes. So like we added this one as well. Then when you click the preview, and then you can see before and after, and then like you see like the original value, like some of the matching text is being highlighted. We improved this the way we matching highlight this one as well. So it's more precise than before. Okay. And then we added more capability with new functions. So for example, we now support regular expression in this UI. Before you had to do a create new calculation thing, but now you can type any regular expression. In this case, from here, I want to actually do a quick demo instead of going through the slide. So here, let's open the unicorn data set. And then this is actually the unicorns. And this might be not the latest, yeah, pretty latest actually. This is unicorn data. And then unicorn is like any startup basically, or private company whose valuation is greater than $1 billion. Okay, so now here the investors. So for example, this particular company, ByteDance, has 4 investors, and then Didi Chuking, whatever, has the 3 investors, and so on. And I'm interested in like who are the investors, and who are the investors invested the most unicorn, and so on. I can see like for example Sequoia and SoftBank and so on. But these are the data that sometimes like there's a problem. For example, similar name, but somehow look at here, SoftBank Group and SoftBank Corp. And I'm sure these are basically the same investor, but somehow enter in a different way. So I want to actually kind of like consolidate these. So go to text data wrangling, and then I'm going to select, let's say like remove, for example. And then let's say if here, like I want to type like a SoftBank, and then I can see all the SoftBank related stuff. And there's a group and a corp and a capital. So I want to remove this. And then this is where you can use the regular expression, for example, group, and the regular expression is like when you type like this vertical bar, which means or. So you can do, let's say like a capital or something. And then, oh, I have to check on this regular expression. Then I can select, hey, if we group or capital, just remove it or something. But something like this, to be honest, you don't have to use a regular expression. So if you're familiar with regular expression, go for it. But I personally not a big fan of regular expression just because it's kind of getting messy and complicated. So for something like this, you can actually use text multiple candidates. And then all you need to do is uncheck the regular expression and then just group, group and capital and corp. And that's all I needed to do. And then if I click on the preview and I can see this like first 5 rows become SoftBank. I probably need to do the last one. Like it looks like there are 2 entries in 2 investors in here, but first 5 becomes just a SoftBank. So that's pretty cool. And then if I can click on round bottom and then if I go to the summary view, and then like now here, SoftBank is 17 and so on. And another thing is, so even here, let's say, this is not the data. Where was that? Another thing is this tweet. I have this tweet data, and then here, perfect. And then here the text wrangling, and then you see like this like an emoji character. And sometimes like I want to just remove the emoji character before I go ahead like start doing more text analysis stuff. Or sometimes I want to actually extract a certain let's say like URL from the data. And you can do such things as well now by using a similar UI. So like same UI actually. And let's say like extract, I want to get the URL, for example. And then like URL is highlighted. And then like if I click on preview, you can extract or remove or replace either way. And then there's a URL or email address and so on. Or let's say, if I go to the remove, there's an emoji. And then like I can see, where's the emoji? Do we have emoji somewhere? Maybe, oh, here we go. So we have an emoji. And then like if you preview it, and then emoji can be removed. Personally, I love emoji, so I don't really want to remove, but sometimes it's an extra thing when you do the text analysis. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Anything I missed? That's the, here we go, perfect. Oh, this one is actually pretty important. So you can also, we added this thing called text inside of special characters. And what it is sometimes, maybe screenshot is good enough. Sometimes the begin, this is like a square bracket, and I want to extract whatever the value inside the bracket. This doesn't have to be square, anything like between the dollar signs or between maybe even AA or anything. And you just type in the beginning and end, and then you can extract, remove, or replace, and so on. So this is also a typical problem that you might have when you have to work with the text data. Okay, that's it for today. And then I'm planning to just do announcement next week, same time, same day. I'm planning to do an exploratory data analysis series. I have like 3 sessions planned, and then basically introduce like what is the exploratory data analysis and how you can do it efficiently and with exploratory, and that's that cover. And if you want to know more detail, please go to our website, exploratory.io. And from the header menu, there's a Learn. Under that, you can find online seminar, and then you can find detailed information there as well. Okay, and then my information is my email is kan@exploratory.io. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, or Twitter. We have Exploratory Data, and then so on. Okay, that's it for today, and